Back here with Scott Hudson, Vice President at Beacon Credit Union. And Scott, we've talked in the past quite a bit about your motto, banking for everyone. And what that basically means is that you are going to do whatever you can to help your clients and members figure out whatever financial questions and circumstances they have.
That's right.
And one of those things that certainly arises for a lot of people, seems to be in the news quite a bit lately, and may even be one of the things that, most people don't think, that their bank or credit union would be able to help them with, but you've certainly got some great information on, is online safety and security. And people may be wondering, exactly what do you mean by that? Well, exactly what do you mean by that?
It's funny, but one of the most common types of questions we get every day at the credit union are about online security and identity theft and protecting your accounts. Of course, account security is top of mind right now, as you may be familiar with, as we've seen that, I think it was called the Heartbleed bug came around. Thankfully, Beacon Credit Union, we weren't impacted, as our systems don't really rely on that type of technology, this SSL technology that was implicated in this type of breach. However, the news of the most recent online threats, that sort of provides I think a good opportunity to think about proactive things that we can do to keep ourselves safe.
What are some of the key things? I mean, when I think of online safety and security, I mean, there are a bunch of different things. I mean, you're clearly not talking about, the safety of Facebook and social,
Sure.
that we see some people get in trouble with, but I'm guessing you're talking about passwords, and
Right.
We've all got different financial, our credit cards or our bank statements or our financial, investment records. I mean, we can access all that stuff online. It all takes passwords. What are some tips you have for people on how to protect that stuff?
Well, I take most of the cues from our IT department, and they give us some basic suggestions, which for password protection, I think that you should change your password on any of the sites that you think may be affected. But it's always a good practice to change all of your passwords on a fairly regular basis. I know that's a big pain in the neck, but it's really important because as time goes on, there are people actively working out there to get to your passwords, and those folks have got nothing to do all day long than to try to figure it out. So being proactive by making these changes is really one of the first key things, I think.
Everyone's always talking about different passwords, and there are little tips people have and you have a couple good ones as you were talking about earlier. I mean, instead of using the letter O, you use a 0. That's just one little thing. I mean, if your password is dog, instead of DOG, it's D0G, which you can remember. Hey, every O is a 0, and that makes it extremely hard, or much harder, I would guess, for someone trying to crack your password.
Yeah, I think some of those simple little type of suggestions makes people's lives a little bit easier when they're trying to remember, rather than having these obscure cryptograms. You end up taking some of the basic things that you use every day and just changing some of those, like the O's to zeros, or you could take L's and change them to ones, and those things dramatically improve the strength of a password. And of course, when you're talking about password creation, make sure that you have unique passwords for each of your accounts. Some people fall into a bad habit of using the same password over and over, and don't make that critical error, because if for whatever reason somebody were able to break your password, or you were to write it down,
they've got it for everything.
They've got it for everything.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And there's some neat software out there too that can help you kind of remember it all. If you got different passwords for different places, there are things that can help. You don't have to keep it all upstairs, which fortunately for some of us is a real good thing.
That's exactly right. Well, I think that password and security in general is something you just need to be proactive about. And we can certainly help you over Beacon to give you some even more details about specific things that relate to your account.
Just another tip from Scott Hudson, Vice President at Beacon Credit Union, banking for everyone. And as you can see, that expands much more beyond just financial transactions. Anything they can to help you with any of your financial needs. Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Rich.